this is Jill from Baby Daisy Crafting. Welcome to another one of my card making for beginner posts. Got a very simple little card for you today, just simple stamping. So all you need is cardstock or a card blank, some ink and a stamp set, and then you're ready to go. We're using this stamp set, which actually I think has been a bit overlooked in the catalogue. Haven't seen that many samples made with it. It's actually a really nice little stamp set. I've made 3 samples with it. Starting off with today's, and I've got 2 others to show you at a later date. Bits more stepped up. This is a really simple little version. And I love this vertical birthday, happy birthday. It's really sweet, and it just means you can play around a little bit with the layout of your cards. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to make it. Just very, very simple. Now, it's not as simple as it might be if it was photopolymer, because it's clear. It's red rubber. I've got most of the stamps out and mounted up. And so it's not as easy to position, but I'm going to show you that you can actually do it. So I'm starting off, move that out of the way, with one of our note cards, which come in a pack of 20. So really, really good value for money. They come ready scored. They're slightly smaller than the cards that I would make if I was making my own card blanks. Normally I'd make them roughly 4 by 6 inches. These ones I think are 3.5 by 5.5, I think, maybe. I can do it in metric for you. It's 12.7 times 9 centimetres. But yeah, nice, quite a nice size, and they have these lovely envelopes that match, which are lovely smooth basic white as well. Really gorgeous, really lovely for stamping on, so you can stamp an envelope to match your card, which just makes it all the more special. So first of all, what are we going to do? Right, I'm going to stamp the happy birthday first, and I'm just going to show you a little trick about how I try and get it straight. Famous last words, but we'll just give it a try. So I'm just going to take a piece of scrap paper, and I'm going to line my scrap paper up with my grid paper. Now I'm going to take this off so that I can show you what I do. I would do it that way, and I'm going to take this side of the stamp here and line that up with one of the dotted lines on the grid paper. Then I'm going to take my block, and again I'm going to line my block up with one of the lines on the grid paper. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a practice stamp. I'm going to line this side of the stamp up with this side of my paper, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, she says, it will be straight. Don't want to do it straight onto my note card in case it's not straight, because that will ruin it right to begin with. So the other images doesn't really matter if they're a little bit wonky, but this, the happy birthday, really does need to be. So there we go. So we're going to line up the edge of the stamp with the edge of the paper. And yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's quite good. Bit too much ink in places. I might just sort that out. So I might just take my chamois, my very messy looking chamois, but still does a marvellous job. Just get all that ink off, and I'm going to try again. I'm going to try and ink it a bit more gently so that it doesn't blob in various places. So I've now got my note card ready. I'm going to ink my, so just a little bit gentler with the Memento ink, so you don't need to go mad. And then we're going to line up the edge of, actually, I'm going to move over here because I don't think I want it quite. So I'm going to line up my edge of my stamp with a place on the grid mat. Now, of course, you could use, there we are, except I've managed to get some smudges on there. How did I manage that? The joy of having paper card is that you can turn over and try again. I'll cover that up with an insert later on. So let's just try that again with a mark on there. I don't know, I must have marks on my fingers or something, I don't know. So let's try that again. See if we can do it without getting marks all over the front. So line this up, line that up there, make sure I'm in the right position, and then stamp. There we go. That's my happy birthday. Right, now we're going to take the leafy stem, and I'm going to do this in. So on this card I used soft succulent, pale papaya and pumpkin pie, along with a little bit of smoky slate and obviously memento black for the greeting. This time I'm going to go back to using granny apple green. I love this colour. And I'm going to stamp 2 of these stems. One of them I'm going to do a bit lower down. So this first one I'm going to do a bit lower down. It is a good idea to stamp your greeting first, because then you know how much room you've got to fit your stems in. And then this one we're going to do a bit higher up, like so. That's all there is to using that. And then because I felt like it needed a little bit of filling in, I went back with one of the light coordinating blends, but in light, and coloured in the rest of it in the outline leaves. So just take the bullet point and just fill those in, and then it kind of gives you a two-tone leaf. Don't have to do this, you could leave it plain if you wanted to. I just quite like the effect. And you could use a marker if you wanted to. The advantage of using a marker, I'll show you in a minute, because our blends will actually bleed through the cardstock a little bit. So you'll get marks on the inside, which you won't do if you use a marker. This is because they're alcohol ink rather than watercolour ink. Of course, like I say, you don't have to do this at all. You could leave them as just outlines. Right, you can see. So you can see I've got this happy birthday. Actually, that looks quite nice. I might manage to do something to cover that up inside and leave that happy birthday. Might work quite well. It's always a way round. Right, okay, I'm going to use Melon Mango. No, Mango Melody. This is a new stamp pad. Some of you have been watching me a while will know I had problems with my Mango Melody pad, and in the end I had to throw it out. It has sort of had, I don't know what I'd got on it. I'd got something that was stopping the ink from absorbing. It wasn't working very well. Now you need to be careful when you're stamping these flowers, because there's a bit of rubber here where it's not going to stamp. So if you stamp it so that that edge meets that, then it's going to be too far away. So you've actually got to allow for that bit. So you see, so it meets the stem. So you just got to imagine, or else you could actually trim that little bit off your stamp if you wanted to. I haven't done that, but you could do. But you just need to allow a little space for that to overlap. Oh, that's quite pretty, isn't it? Now I was going to use pumpkin pie for the stamens, but actually I think I'm going to go back to the black. I think I'm going to do them in black. So you've got this little stamp here with 4 little stamens, and the same thing really. If you do them, if you've got a space here where there's not going to be anything stamped, so you've got to overlap that with the flower head. So it might take some practicing to do this with this stamp set. Of course, you could set all these stamps up on your Stamparatus, but I know not everybody's got a Stamparatus, so that I didn't want to use that in a beginner video, because I know when you're a beginner that's quite a big outlay. I will be doing some lessons on using the Stamparatus though later in this series. Right, and then lastly, we're just going to do a little dragonfly, just to balance up the pattern and fill in that space at the top. And this is from the same set again. You get this little dragonfly. It's quite sweet. You need to be careful when you stamp this. I don't know if you can see, but I've actually got ink around the red rubber because it's quite a small stamp. So actually let me wipe this off, because what I found, I'll show you actually before I wipe it off. If you do that and then press too hard, you get a shadow from where the ink has hit the edge of the rubber, so you just need to be a little bit careful. So I do try and include all these sorts of tips in my beginner videos, so that if you are a beginner you can see where the pitfalls might lie. So just tap it gently on the stamp pad, and then you won't get any ink around this edge. And if you do, you can just gently wipe it off. And then remember, don't press too hard when you stamp, and then it will be perfect. There, that's quite good. And then what I did was I did another stamp inside. I just did much smaller one, so we could go ahead and do that. Been a very quick video this. I'm going to have to find something to cover those splodges up with, or I might use my magic rubber to rub them out, see if they'll rub out. I've got a sand rubber, Tombow sand rubber, which will just rub, get rid of ink to a certain extent. So there we go. And again for the flower head. So again, remember what I said. Make sure you overlap so that you've not got space between your flower head and your. They're very. One thing you can do with these is cut out the flower heads. I've done that on one of my other samples, which I'll be bringing you. So, and then, and again, overlap. And as you play with them more, you'll get to know what distance away they need to be. And then just come in with your green marker. This is light green, light granny apple green blends pen. There we are. That's filled that in. I just need to get rid. But I like that happy birthday there. I quite like that. And then you can write your message here on the card. Yeah, so two little very simple stamping cards made with the Celebrate with Flowers stamp set. I really like it. I haven't used it much before, but like I say, I have made 3 samples now, so I will have some other samples, a bit more complicated to bring you and show you another time. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. If you wanted to buy the stamp set or any of the inks or a pack of note cards, you can go down to my shop. Please remember to use my host code, which is SV4H3UFF. That's S for sugar, V for very, 4H, 3UFF, F for Freddy. But it will be on my blog, so you'll see it there on my blog anyway. And that's it from me today. Thanks so much for joining me. Please press subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me if I can build up my subscribers a bit. And I'll be back really soon with those other samples that I told you about. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.